He's a... Well, I'm going to try very hard not to go off on a rant on this one here, but story here that's just really got me wound up is that Arron Banks has got himself into trouble. Now, most of you watching this probably know who Arron Banks is, but for the benefit of those who don't, Arron Banks is the man who bankrolled UKIP under Nigel Farage. He also bankrolled the Brexit campaign in 2016. And, of course, naturally that makes him enemy number one to all the Remoaners. And the Remoaners now have just found themselves a new stick in which to beat Arron Banks with. So what's Arron done? Well, he's put out a tweet about Greta Thunberg to do with her nice little sailing trip across to New York. So this sailing trip that Greta Thunberg is undertaking with a crew of about 6 people is on a yacht that is entirely powered by solar power and an underwater turbine, which basically means it's got no carbon emissions whatsoever. And they showed this thing on the news the other night, and I took one look at that yacht and I said, that's going to get tossed around like a flipping rag doll in the middle of the Atlantic. I had to check on the forecast, and right now the UK is in a rather turbulent spell of weather. The turbulent weather stretches right out into the Atlantic, and I'll tell you right now, if that thing gets out there into rough seas, it's going to be carnage. Now, I have got a feeling that what they're not telling you in the media is that there is some sort of contingency plan with this, probably being a support boat, so that should tragedy strike, they've got quick access to rescue. Now, of course, that support boat will run on diesel. The other possibility is that there is a outboard motor on the Greta Thunberg's boat, just in case of emergencies. And the third thing is that they may rely on a rescue helicopter. But if you fall into them seas, you're not looking at long before you're dead. So that's why Arron Banks has got into trouble, because he's tweeted, right? And I will quote to you the exact tweet. I've got it here on the. I won't exactly say good authority, because this story is so insignificant that I had to rely on the fake news in order to get anything on it whatsoever, because basically any proper news, they just don't give a shit. This comes from the Independent, and the only other place I could find anything about it was in the Guardian and the Metro. And of course, the Guardian is the fakest of fake news. And this is exactly Arron Banks' tweet. He said that yachting accidents do happen in August. That's what he said. That's the exact wording that he used. Not a single swear word. Not a single derogatory terminology about Greta and mental issues. Nothing at all. And of course, the people who are now beating Arron Banks with are all the usual Remoaning suspects. You've got top of the list. And you know what I'm going to say before I even say it. This is Caroline Lucas. Don't all groan together, please. Caroline Lucas has put in a formal complaint to Twitter, clearly with the intention of getting Arron Banks kicked off of Twitter. Nothing to do with Greta Thunberg, it's all to do with an attack on Arron Banks. But I don't care how biased Twitter are. We all know that they've been shutting down people that they don't agree with and they don't like what you say. But come on, they're not going to kick him off for that. There is nothing in the language that is used that is in any way offensive. Secondly, number 2 on the list is David Lammy. And David Lammy has said, he said that this is the man who has bankrolled the perils facing our country. By that, of course, he means Brexit. And third on the list, last but not least, we have Femi Oluwole. Now, Femi Oluwole, you probably know as being the young Remoaner who founded a young Remoaners group called Our Future, Our Choice. very anti-Brexit. And this is the most laughable one of them all. And Femi Oluwole says, this is the man who's been bankrolling Brexit and Nigel Farage since the start, now threatening to kill an autistic child. You flipping losers. How long are we going to have to suffer this kind of pathetic Remoaning bullshit? Get a life, you fucking losers! This is all an attempt to attack Arron Banks. It's got nothing to do with Greta Thunberg, and they're all jumping on the bandwagon. And fortunately, Arron Banks, being the sort of thick skin he is just laughing it all off, and he's laughing at all the outrage mob having a go on Twitter. But this isn't where we have sunk now, that anybody now who is prominent in supporting Brexit is a target for these people, these sort of Remoaner extremists. And it's just getting out of hand. For God's sake, people, grow up. You lost. You lost the referendum. Get over it. Stop using figures like Arron Banks. And let's not forget that Arron Banks was hauled into a select committee meeting a while ago with the usual accusations of Russian collusion again and again. How many times have we heard that one? And he basically humiliated Damien Collins, the head of the select committee, in front of his own committee and made him look like a dickhead. And now Damien Collins has been gunning for him ever since. Oh my God. I knew I'd end up going off on a rant. But if you just want to have a look at that, look it up, that he's been talking to, I think he's been talking to Julia Hartley-Brewer as well about it. You might be able to get some video evidence on that. I haven't actually looked it up myself. I've just read it and put this video out now. So, there we are. Losers. Absolute losers. Thank you for watching. Until next time, easy.